Right, our next section is rectangles, rhombi, and squares, or rhombuses. I don't think rhombi is the plural. Rhombi. So on your family tree, remember who the parents were. It's got four sides from the quadrilateral, at least one set of parallels from trapezoid. Parallelogram gives it two sets of parallels, opposite sides equal, opposite sides parallel, the 180 for all the consecutive legs. And now rectangle and rhombus. Now what's different? Remember they were like brother and sister, or brother and brother, whatever you want to call it. Rectangle is going to have right angles, but rhombus is going to have four matching sides. So keep that in mind. And then finally, square is going to get all the features. Rectangle. Besides the 90 degrees, the diagonals are congruent. So we didn't have any of these before like this. This whole diagonal piece would be 20, and this whole diagonal piece would be 20. And that only happens with rectangles, and then of course that gets passed down to squares later on. But that's a very important feature of something that deals with construction, and we'll look at that in a minute. But also, well, here it is. When you're building a deck or any kind of housing thing, when they go to plan it out, they usually take string and some stakes, some little sticks, and hammer them down the ground to hold the string tight, and they will measure. Now, just because you say I got a 10-foot board and a 10-foot board, that does not necessarily make it a rectangle or a square, because you don't know if you've got right angles. What you can do is measure the diagonals, and if this diagonal is 11.2 inches, or 11.2 feet, or 11 feet 2 inches, and it matches the other diagonal, then you know that you've got right angle corners. Now, why do we need right angle corners? Because that's where everything fits together tight. You don't want any gaps in your walls or up against the house where it'll be coming apart later on. So you do want it to be in right angles. Things are cut for right angles, and that's an easy way to check. They don't take a big old protractor out there and measure the corners when they can just measure the diagonal piece. If that one matches that, you either got a rectangle or a square. Okay? Just having 10 and 10 could be a rhombus and not be right angles. Alright, so another feature, well, let's still talking about the diagonals. If AB has a length of 18, then let's find the other pieces. C to E, well, we haven't even done a piece there, but what did we say? The whole thing's going to be 18, and they still get split in half. So that'll be 9, that'll be 9, that's DE. And then CD, where's the whole thing? That's 18. So each piece will be cut in half, just like they have in the past. Right. Next, we're looking at angles. Now, the corners, of course, are 90 degrees. It's a rectangle. It's got to have right angles a corner. But the opposite angles are still, they match, but they're not going to be perfectly matched. They're going to have a little twist to them here. If I got 55, then 90 minus 55 will give me 35 for angle Y. They got to add up to be 90. When it matches, it's going to flip up here. Remember about alternate interiors? Angle W would be 35, and angle X would be 55. If I looked at these like alternate interior, parallel, connected by that diagonal, then this angle, sorry, that angle and that angle are going to match because they're alternate interior. And it goes for the other sides too. Alright, so got that. Now what about Z and B? We don't have any particular numbers for them. There's nothing over here to match it. But remember back to those matching pieces. If I had piece here, matching the piece here, and the piece here, matching the piece here, I end up getting a isosceles, an isosceles triangle right here. Each one of these triangles is isosceles. Remember isosceles, 2 matching legs and 2 matching angles. So I'm going to have 35 here and 35 right here. Because this is an isosceles, those little diagonals cutting each other into equal pieces makes those match. So it also matches on the other triangles. Look at it here. On the side and on the top. This piece matches this, and this piece matches this. So here's my other isosceles. Isosceles here. That's a leg, that's a leg, that's a base. The base angles match. So I'm going to have 55 right here. And the vertical, not the vertical, sorry. The alternate interiors, the opposites match, but they flip. 55 here, 35 here. Now look at each one of your triangles. When I look here, I see the matching angles. When I look here, I see the matching angles. So, something easy to remember. A rhombus has all 4 sides matching, okay? It has corner angles cut in half, so we haven't had that before. Now, look at your diagonal. Does that length match that length? No. You got a short diagonal and a long diagonal, just like parallelogram. So it doesn't have that feature like the rectangle has, but it splits that corner angle in half, so that's going to make it easy to find all our missing stuff. So if I had 60, it would be 30 and 30. The opposites still match, so I can go up here, put 30 and 30. Now, another important thing, this is only here for rhombus, and then of course it's passed down to square. The diagonals are perpendicular. Now, do you remember what that vocabulary means? I told it to you, I told you not to forget it. It means 90. So in the middle, I'm going to get 90 degrees in all those 4 corners. That makes each one of these triangles into a right triangle. So now it's 30 and 90, and I can say 180 minus my 30 and my 90 and get 60 in this other corner. What's his buddy right here next to it going to be? Match it, 60. What's the opposite going to be? Matching it, 60 and 60. So each one of those triangles ends up being a right triangle. Okay? Cool? Cool beats. Okay. Can you work one like this? It's on the notes. Let's see what you can do. Stop the video. See if you can fill in all those matching angles. Okay? Is it a rhombus? See the red? 4 matching sides? Yeah, it's a rhombus. So that means the 50 has been bisected. It was a big angle and it got cut into 2 equal pieces, 50 and 50. And of course the opposite still matches, 50, 50. Think about Z in the middle. What's always going to happen on a rhombus? Right angle, 90 degrees, right angles. How do I find T and S? Look at that triangle. Just that one triangle. I've already got 50. I've already got 90. Leaves me 40 for angle S and 40 for angle T. How'd you do? Okay. And then in the middle, give you a little bit of a twist with that. Diagonals. This diagonal has to match that one. 3b minus 20 equals a b. They gotta match. They gotta be equal. So let's get the b's together. This is 3b. This is 1b. We'll say minus 1b minus 1b. Leaves me with 2b. I still got minus 20. And what's left over here? 0, and that's okay. You can have 0 on the side. You're not through. 2b minus 20 equals 0. Move your 20. Plus 20 plus 20. 2b equals 20. So b is 10. So b is 10. Okay? Now you can take that answer and plug it in to the up and down pieces. B is 10. 10 plus A equals 16, so that's an easy one. A is going to be 6. How'd you do? Alright, finally we got the square. Now all the features we've talked about, except for the kite, are passed down to the square. It has 4 equal sides. Where did it get it from? Where did it get 4 equal sides from? The rhombus. Okay. 4 right angles. Where did it get that from? The rectangle. Diagonals are congruent. Where did you get that from? The rectangle. Diagonals are perpendicular. I guess I should be writing some of these on. We got the right angles. Diagonals are congruent, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 equal pieces right there. Diagonals are perpendicular, 90 in the middle. That's rhombus. And then corner angles are bisected. That's rhombus. Now how much is a corner? 90. So if that 90 gets bisected, cut in half, it's always going to be 45 and 45. They can't have any other angles on there if it's a square. Every single corner, every time, is going to be 45. And that's the only one that'll happen. You can have all kinds of different angles on the others. Even rectangle, how you split those corners up, doesn't always match. Could be 30 and 60, could be 50 and 40, could be lots of that. But a square always has 45, 45. And that's it. 4 equal pieces for your diagonals. Good luck.